Being a celebrity is a job. Being an actor is a completely different job. I think we should stop taking risks. Everything depends on a formula and, don't take yourself seriously. I think that's the best way to navigate social media.
Babil, it is always wonderful to be talking to you, and congrats on the new film, Logout.
Thank you.
I have to say, as we were just talking about, when you hear of another social media influencer film from Hindi cinema, it tends to be a massive red flag. But this one's actually pretty promising and tackles some pretty interesting ideas.
Why do you say it's what red flag? I'm so sorry, I'm very aloof and disconnected, so I don't...
So typically when we say the majority of mainstream cinema do social media, it tends to be, it's like the equivalent of your uncle telling you that make this video viral. You'll just see like a bunch of pop-outs on screen. Somebody will tweet something, it's very... There's very little understanding of how any of it works, and this is actually one of the few films which seems to really get it. And I am not just saying that, and I do want to ask you about that. But first, I really wanted to get a sense of where you are today. This is your 4th project that's released, if I'm not wrong. You've had 3 films, 1 streaming series. So I'm curious to know what excites you. What are you currently looking for? Is it just as much as trying to be on set as much as possible, to take on as many projects as possible, just to be out there as much?
I think you work. I would like to start having fun with the, I take so much pressure on myself, and every time I'm going to do a film, there's just so much anxiety and there's so much stress. I just want to work so much that I can start having fun in the job,
But you don't feel like you've been able to do
Yeah, but it takes time. In acting, it takes time to start having fun. And when you start having fun, that's when you become great. I think till the end, my father was struggling to have fun. It was by Kareeb single. Then he started, having fun at the job.
It was very late in his career.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is it also about finding the right role that allows for fun, or?
Perhaps, but I genuinely don't know, because I don't have the experience to, know that as of yet. But maybe some role will activate something in me that will,
I have to say, of the work you've done so far, with The Railwayman, where you had this insane cast you were across, you were arguably, I think, my favorite performance in that. And I'm not just saying that, there's something about what you did with Imad, and specifically his silences, that really, really stood out.
I think the director is really, because you only see the edit, no, you don't see the takes I've messed up on. You know what I mean? The silences I did not keep. I think it's such a collaborative process that an actor can never take credit for the performance in general. It's just, but I feel like it's every aspect of your performance has so much to do with the environment. Everything goes into play, and taking entire credit for your performance is, I think there's no growth in that. You have to admit and surrender to what's happening, and I guess that's how you stop taking yourself so seriously and start having fun with it, which I want to do eventually.
Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yes.
I also imagine that you are at a stage in your career where you are inundated with advice, whether you like it or not. Everyone must be telling you what to do, what kind of roles to take, OTT, theatrical, this genre, this is how you position yourself. So how do you navigate all that noise, but also stay true to the kind of things that excite you?
I listen to my gut. That's it. It's not complicated at all. I think we tend to complicate things, but there is a sense of truth within us that our gut always responds to. And if we listen to that, I think life guides you. Life is your best friend, and it will guide you if you let it,
What's the worst piece of career advice you ever received?
I've not listened to much advice,
okay,
honestly.
But have you ever heard anything where you're like, seriously?
Huh?
Have you ever heard anything where you're like, seriously, that's what you think I should do?
Yeah, I guess it's why? Not really, honestly. Because I don't think of it like that. I always try to keep my mind open, and because that would be judgmental of me, and I'm trying not to be judgmental. Because the thing is, the more you judge, the more you close yourself to the world. I much rather be curious about it. If somebody gives me an advice, I would like to be like, okay, let me think about it, let me feel about it. and let's see where it takes me.
That's
But
the-
I don't say like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I mean, I do sometimes, but I never, yeah.
That's a great Ted Lasso line. Be curious, not just.
Yes, 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 season 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and I love that show. It's such a good show, and it's so optimistic. You know,
It's a hug for the soul.
Yes, yes.
I'm also curious now that you've done sort of 4 projects
I'm
that
so
are out.
happy you said that. So yeah.
Just the thought of the show makes you
Yeah,
happy. Do you, by this stage, have a certain process you follow when you're getting into character, or are you still
No,
figuring it out?
no. I think the moment you stick yourself to one process, it's going to limit you as an actor, because then you will end up feeling safe, and you have to be open to allowing the story to teach you the process. Every story will have a different process. You know, I could have never imagined doing this in the same way I did. I can't talk about I can't give advice about acting because I don't have the experience.
No, I didn't mean in terms of advice. Just in terms of I'm just
Yeah.
curious that now that you've done so many characters and we have so many more on the way.
Yeah,
curious
I
that,
think allowing the story to tell you the process and being open and flexible, you know, not sticking to formulas, not sticking to conventions, not sticking to, oh, I know how to do this, this is what I'm going to do. Be uncertain about it, like be in doubt.
It's okay to not know.
Yes, that's the whole point. Don't tell yourself where you're going, don't know your desk, just go, you know, and find out what happens.
And just coming to this film, you know, I imagine it must have been a really interesting acting challenge because there are maybe 2 scenes in the entire film where it's you playing off of someone else. Everything else is you in a room reacting to a screen, your phone, a computer. So was that an interesting challenge? Because you are carrying this entire film. You are in every frame and you do it very well. What was that like? Because again, you don't have much to play off of.
It was tough. It was so tough because I've always, depended on react. I've always been a reactive actor, an instinctive actor. But in this, I didn't have anything to react to. So I had to react to my imagination. And for that, you have to really trust yourself. And alongside that, I had to also land every line on the beat. I couldn't improvise much because the film had a certain pace to it, which I couldn't interrupt. So that all of that coming together, I think what this film taught me about life and gave me about life was it gave me the ability to trust myself more and trust my imagination more. And I think for any actor who thinks that imagination is not something they should use, they limit themselves. Imagination is such a great tool, and I didn't know that. You know, I always depend on real things, but imagination is beautiful.
I think the scenes that really stuck with me is when we see your character Pratyush, when he's starting to lose control. You know, it's like a very interesting cocktail of sort of fear, panic, anger, where he starts shouting at this person who's blackmailing him because he feels like his life is being sort of deleted in front of him, and there's so much rage there, there's so much just fear and panic, and you play that very well. It's very effective.
Because I am scared, but fear and panic is easy for me. Like it was like in the fear and panic to deliver the line, that is what's difficult because you have to do that in a craft. Like you have to do that with the craft, right? Like you have to do that in a certain time, you have to do that with a certain pause. And Amit sir and Biswa sir's writing is so intricate that you have to be careful about all of those things. So I think it was along with the emotion to just surrender to the process as, you know, and the process the story tells you, the process the environment tells you. Yeah. Just to be able to listen.
And what was the research like? Because you're getting into the head of an influencer, you know, whose entire dream is 10 million followers. Do you go down some very dark corners of the internet to just understand who this guy is, or the kinds of people out there who?
No, I think I just went into the dark corners with myself. Okay. You know, Carl Jung's, of course, you know. So he speaks about accepting your own darkness, right? And that's where I learned about how we have every kind of shade in us. We have a murderer in us. We have all of the things that we deny. If we accept those things, then you'll realize that you are everything that you hate in another person. You know, it's the reason you hate somebody is because you're projecting what you deny about yourself onto somebody else. So I didn't have to search any dark corners of the internet. I just had to look within myself, and I found it. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see.
There's something you said in an interview once where you said fame is a disease, and I feel like that's pretty much could be the tagline of this film.
I said that.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Damn.
Oh
shit. Yeah. But I enjoy it as well. I enjoy fame a lot.
Yeah. I think maybe you were talking more generally.
I think it was Baba said fame is a disease. I never said fame is a disease.
I saw one where you said it, but I think you were talking about the concept overall. You maybe not in terms of you, but I did want to ask you about that in context of you, because what happens when you are trying to play the stardom game, because fame is essential for an artist wanting to be successful in this industry, and you know the stardom game tends to be different from the becoming a great actor game. There is a bit of an overlap, but they tend to be two different rat races. So how do you navigate that?
I think Vicky Kaushal is doing that really well right now. I think that he's setting up. I don't know, man. I'm trying to find my own way.
But you never think about what it is you're working towards, because obviously you're trying to build a very meaningful body of work, which is very admirable. But how much do you think of the stardom thing? Because it's kind of necessary in this world.
I don't know if it's necessary. I think it depends on the person. But I do want to achieve it. I do want to achieve. I mean, I do want to see what it feels like. You know, I why not?
Yeah.
If I'm going for it, then let's go for it wholeheartedly and full on. Yeah.
And in this, I know you've probably not been around long enough to maybe want to give advice, but in the spirit of this film, I did want to ask you, what would be your advice for an aspiring actor trying to navigate the social media game? Of sort of what social media needs to be, what kind of social media you should be building to be taken seriously but get the opportunity.
Don't take yourself seriously. I think that's the best way to navigate social media. In the moment you take yourself seriously, every comment will hurt you. You know, just laugh at yourself. Be a part of the joke. I think that's the best way to navigate life and social media.
I had the exact same question in context of mental health. What would be, because it's another big theme in this film, what advice would you have for an aspiring actor trying to navigate this world, which can be very brutal, but keeping their mental health intact and staying sane? And
I think it's very important to have a certain set of priorities, have a world outside of your job. Say for example, being a celebrity is a job. Being an actor is a completely different job. Now, being an actor is my passion. The celebrity part of it, there are lots of positives, but then the negatives as in the things that usually upset
the less fun
you.
Aspects.
Yeah, the less fun aspects. Right. Well, thank you. You have to know that it's a job. Disconnect that from your reality. Don't make that your identity. You know. And have a life outside of this. You know, I think that's very important. And don't ever attach your identity to your emotions. If you feel anxiety, then don't let it overwhelm you. Don't be overwhelmed by your anxiety. I know it's very easy for me to say, and somebody going through anxiety, it's very difficult for them to be like, how to not be overwhelmed by it. But the truth is, just if you sit with yourself and breathe a little bit and just let the feeling sink in within you, accept it and watch it rather than react to it. You know what? It automatically your body will adjust to it. It takes time, but it'll happen sooner or later.
And how much do you think of the wider stuff happening within the industry? You know, there's all this talk of the state of mainstream cinema, theatrical, how sort of uncertain that place is, the state of streaming these days, the kinds of projects that are no longer getting made, etc. How much do you sort of pay attention to that stuff? Because it does then drill down to the kind of roles and offers you're getting.
I think we need to start taking risks again. I think we should stop taking risks. Everything depends on a formula, and you know, theatricals, I genuinely believe that they're not working because we've stopped taking risks. We just want to be safe all the time. You know, just this will make money. This you're safe. This you won't get rolled. This don't talk about your. It's have this kills you as a person. And if you're dead as a person, then how will you connect with an audience? Why would an audience want to pay money to go watch a film where you've just played it safe?
There's nothing there. I feel like even the definition of safe is, nobody knows what that is anymore.
Exactly.
You know, everyone's just trying, but there's nothing there.
Yeah, man. I think be uncomfortable for a while. I think it's time for us to be a little uncomfortable. I think we've been really comfy for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think it's time for us to be a little uncomfortable, take some risks, fall down, fall flat on our face, get back up and laugh.
Yeah.
You know?
We will remain optimistic that that's what happens
Yeah.
with the industry, because just as an audience, that's all you want.
Yeah.
But no, thank you so much for this, and congrats on the film. As I said, it's not very easy to carry a film completely, and you very much do that here. And I hope you get to a stage soon that you can enjoy the process.
Yeah, man. Same.